Hey everyone, this is Chris from IronPonyLife.
This is Tracy.
And this is Max.
And we are at Ride in Northern Kentucky.
In Walton, Kentucky, yep.
Exactly right. And our guest for the week, Max. And he's got tons of motorcycle knowledge, and we're going to pry his brain open today.
Welcome, Max.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, guys.
All right. So, Max, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, name's Max Sayles, and I've been around the biker scene in the local area for about 35 plus years.
Wow.
So you guys invited me on to tell my life stories and adventures. I don't know why anybody would want to listen to that, but hey, you know.
Hey, man. We want to hear it, so there you go.
I'll tell you what, your voice sounds like it's perfect for this podcast.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Well, I do have my radio voice that I used to use on EVN once in a while.
Oh,
so there you go.
Oh, really?
I worked security for them once in a while.
Oh, did you?
Back in the day.
That's nice.
Which was all wrapped up in the biker stuff, too. So
Oh, there you go.
All right. So, when did you start biking?
My first bike happened around the mid-'80s, I would say. I was married at the time, and my first bike was a 450 Suzuki, and this is going to predate you guys. Bought from Gentleman Jim Settles up on Coleraine Avenue.
Wow.
No, that dealership no longer exists, but all those graybeards out there like me used to know that shop.
Oh, there you go.
And so I lived in Winton Place at the time, did a lot of practicing on that bike. The next year I got a 750 Intruder, which is Suzuki's answer to chopper style.
Right.
Rode that bike for a while. Then I moved up to 800. Then I finally moved up to a 1200. Right around that time, I started going to and attending AFR events, the American Federation of Riders. Back in those days, it wasn't like a run every weekend or 2 or 3 runs on top of each other. There were only 3 events a year. And that was the AFR Fall, Hog in the middle. AFR Spring, Hog in the middle, AFR Fall. Just 3 events. And then people found out how giving and how caring bikers are, and all of a sudden we've got runs on top of runs on top of runs on top of runs.
Wow.
Okay. So yeah, back in those days, I wasn't a member of the AFR back then, but I organized a group of fellow riders, and we would go to the AFR events and always have a good time and stuff. Now keep in mind, this is the mid to late 80s and the early 90s. I'm gonna tell you a simple truth. As it was described to me, black guy on a Jap bike with a white girl on the back. Not too cool. Not everybody enjoyed me being around.
Oh, really?
That's why I hung around my own little group, and it was all cool. Till I was finally asked to join the AFR, and I ended up being a member for almost 25 years.
Nice.
Yes, the AFR was a good organization, did a lot of good for a lot of people, and those runs that we had were excellent. And we expanded our run category. They had the AFR Bike Blessing, which was the first Sunday in May. That's now taken over by the Legion over in Harrison and the SOBs, the Southern Ohio Bikers. And they had a spring run. Then they had a fall run. And then they had a toy run. So they had 4 runs a year, still back in the day when there wasn't people stepping on toes. So they did a lot of good for a lot of people back in the day. Unfortunately, in the end, and the end came about 5-6 years ago, where you met my buddy Wes. He was the chairman, but we couldn't get any young people to join, just like the downfall of a lot of motorcycle organizations nowadays. So we ended up with 6 people. A lot of them were getting older, and we just called it a day.
That happens, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think this time of, where we're at right now, it's hard for people to actually do groups, because we're in the, what is it, the MRG motorcycle group?
Yeah, IMRG motorcycle group.
Yeah, and we have meetings every month, and it's hard for people to show up. I mean, because they're just so busy. Everybody's doing soccer, everybody's doing baseball, everybody's doing this and that, and we do have rides, and a lot of people show up for rides. But yeah, I understand it is very hard to get.
Well, and the younger people, I think, are just not into the cruiser lines like our generations are. So I think that's a factor in it too.
Yep.
They're into different style bikes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the AFR story takes me into the road captain story. I watched your podcast last week, and I know we all had differing opinions of road captains and style of riding and blocking versus not blocking and styles of blocking and everything else. So if you'll allow me, let me dive into that just for a second.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so from the AFR to the KBA, KMA, to the KMRO, it's been hundreds of rides that I've either led, co-led, or tail gunned on. I learned from old graybeards on how to be a road captain back when I was going, oh, those old graybeards don't know nothing, this, that, and the other. Well, yeah, they did. I mean, some of the people who influenced me greatly, the late, great Indian Don, he was a master road captain. Skip Fredericks, both of those guys with the AFR. Tom Tenkati with the AFR. Then coming over here to Kentucky, when I finally got over here, Newt Conrad took me under his reign. And we got some rides road captain together. Jeff Diener, a.k.a. Jesus, my man. He's still around doing stuff. I mean, there were a lot of people who took their time to educate me about the ways and the rules and everything else when they absolutely, as I said before, didn't have to. Like I said, I'm on a Jap bike those days, so, I'm not riding a Harley or anything else. So they didn't have to.
Yeah.
But they made sure I got my feet wet and learned how to do this. And thankfully, my record speaks for itself. As of today, I have never lost a rider in one of my waves. I've never got a ticket for anybody in one of my waves. And it just stands. I've been very lucky and very fortunate.
Yeah. So, you got any questions?
Well, yeah, I want to know. So, being a road captain, what's it like? Give me some details on what your responsibilities are and what you handle with that.
It's not something that you take lightly because basically you've got a group of people who are depending on you to get them to point A back to the end safely.
Okay.
It takes a lot of planning, a lot of dedication because you're out there doing dry runs on days when it's wet, when it's cold. You're making sure the road conditions are okay. Sometimes you're doing it in the car so you can take your push broom and push the gravel and stuff out of the way. There's a lot more involved than just sitting in the front of a pack or the back of a pack and just being there. But it's an exhilarating thing to me. And again, let me preface by saying my opinions are strictly my own. They don't reflect anything on these guys at all. So there's nothing more exhilarating than bringing a wave in from a successful run. You count hands, you slap high fives, you're doing all that. You check with everybody, make sure they're having a good time. And that's the other thing. During the course of a ride, you're communicating with everybody.
Right.
How's it going? Is it too fast? Is it too slow? Is it this? Is it that? And I've always been of the mindset that you ride to your lowest common denominator. Not everybody believes that, but I do. And that way you try to not get the accordion effect that's so prevalent when you see with runs. If you keep it at a nice steady pace, and usually the speed limit is about right, your lead road captains aren't spreading people out, and just the accordion effect, you don't get it. It bores some people because some people like to rip and run.
Right. Which is something we talked about last week.
Yeah.
With some of it.
Yeah, it bores some people. And then you did a statement about blocking. That IMRG thing we did.
Yeah.
There's two styles of blocking. Okay, actually 3. You've got your police escorted rides where they do everything. And then the bikers just follow behind and holds the intersection so the cop can go. What they did was called bump and run. I call it bump and run. It must be a formal name for it and stuff. But it's mainly practiced by police officers and very, very experienced riders. Because you are going from the back of the pack, riding in the opposite lane of traffic, zooming past people who might not be expecting you, might not be experienced enough riders to expect you, and this, that, and other. And frankly, it scared a lot of people when we did that on that run. That's why it's best for just leave that for the police officers because they've got lights and sirens, and people are going to get out of their way. Me just zipping down the road, nobody's going to get out of my way whatsoever.
It puts you at risk trying to do that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's scary. I've done it. I'm experienced enough to do it, but do I like it? Hell no.
No, you're at risk doing that, I'm sure.
Yeah. So the normal blocking that I recommend is just everybody take a turn. Granted, you want to get your side road captains and everybody up front to handle the big intersections that you normally experience when you pull out of somewhere to beginning. But that's okay. When you run out of your people, then everybody takes a turn. Now, granted, not everybody's comfortable blocking. I understand that. Okay, and if you're not comfortable, you need to stay toward the back of the pack. But everybody takes a turn. And yes, it is illegal, but I've never had anybody arrested for it. And we're out of the way before 9/10 of the time people get upset or the cops get there or anything else. And there are people that get upset. God knows we inconvenience somebody for 5 minutes. I can get 50 bikes through an intersection in 3 minutes. You know.
So tell me a little bit about what you think about the communication devices that we have today. Go back to your day when you first started doing these rides. What was it like communicating without these devices?
Dude, we did hand signals and we talked at stops because guess what? Cardo and Cena, those didn't exist back in those days.
That's why I'm asking the question. I'm curious how it was. What's the difference? How better is it now compared to back then?
It's much better and much safer now because you've got your lead road captain to communicate with your side road, your side guy, and your tail gunner. And if anything unexpected, you can communicate that instantly. That's great. There are some times I wish we would have had that back in the day. But like I said, we did what we had to do. And for me, I've never gotten anybody in trouble. I've never lost anybody.
So back then it was all hands and...
But then, again, that was back in the day. I don't know how that would work today.
Not with today's people, I can't see it.
With the lack of patience and everything. I mean, there was lack of patience back then, but there's really a lack of patience today.
We talked about that numerous times. There's zero,
Yeah, and I think a lot of problems with cardio and stuff like that. The problem is not all the bikes have the same system. And then
but they're working on that as we speak with the technology too.
I think there should be some kind of universal, where they all connect
mesh together.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen though.
Well, I mean, cardo units. I just recently purchased one at Christmas. Wes had an older model that we had gotten at a show as a demo model, and it worked for him, and it worked meshing with cardo units. But when he tried to mesh that unit, which was 11 years old, with today's units, it wasn't happening. He had to end up buying a whole new unit. And then, like I said, Josh, our leader in the IMRG, he's got a different brand.
I don't even know what brand it is.
I don't even know what brand it is either. But we are able to link up. So it's not impossible, and it has gotten better than it was. But it's still something that needs to be developed and work on by the powers
these manufacturers.
Sure.
As long as somebody don't got their music on.
True. All right. So, road captaining, blocking. We've talked about that. I guess that leads us into how I got involved with magazine writing and YouTube. So, as a result of being known through this and that and everything else, I got involved with a guy who worked out of Norwood High School, and that's where he did all his editing and stuff. And that was kind of shady because there were a lot of YouTubers back then that did stuff so they could just get free product and never do a story or never did film on that, and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So there was a guy by the name of DP Freed. He wrote and edited and owned a local magazine called Full Throttle originally.
Okay.
That I was on the cover of Full Throttle. I think I showed you that when you were at the house the other day. That got him in trouble, so he switched the name from Full Throttle to Road Wheeler. Okay. Road Wheeler was in existence for a good little while before I came on staff. He asked me if I would do a couple of things for him, and that's fine, because initially nobody even thought about YouTube or anything. So my first mention in the contributors page was July 2007.
Oh, wow.
Okay. My first staff byline was 2008. And I think the last issue that I have, now there might be some other issues floating around out there, but the last issue I have is May 2014. So I was involved with them for a good amount of time.
Do you want to show one of those magazines? so
Sure,
people can
I
see what that
do.
looks like?
In fact, let me show you a very rare one, because I've shared some of those with Chris, and I bought some more for him too, where I've written articles. Check this out. 2010, the V-Twin Expo,
Nice.
which Easy Rider used to sponsor downtown. That's Preacher, Ron Shalee, my cameraman and sound guy, and me. They superimposed that over the magazine,
Oh, wow. That's nice.
which I thought was really cool. Have a 2-page spread article in there, and by then we had started doing the video vignettes. When we started doing YouTube, like I said, the setup you guys here and what you guys did is light years ahead of what we used to do.
Chris is into technology.
Yeah. DP owned all the equipment, and DP did the video editing. We never did shot a video longer than anybody could be in the bathroom.
Wow.
That was the whole thing.
That was the key.
The guys that I interviewed way back when used to call me the master of the 5-minute interview, because I would ask them valid questions and then let them talk.
Right.
But I was telling Chris the other day, the main key of why I got people like Arlen Ness, the Ness sons, some of the bike builders. I mean, there's a interview in there where I interviewed a very beginning Brian Clock and his wife back then, Laura, who he's now since divorced from. There was an interview with an up-and-coming John Shope from Dirty Bird, way back when nobody heard of it.
Right.
So there are various people that I met along the way, and the reason that I got those interviews because they would do word of mouth and tell the guy, "Oh, Max is cool," because he does his research, he doesn't ask you dumb questions, and he lets you talk.
Yeah. Like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
This is your show. You're our guest, so.
No, it's your show, and I'm just a guest. So, yeah, the magazines, I wrote articles. I wrote articles on just about everything. I did restaurant reviews. I did bike reviews. I went down to Murfreesboro, Tennessee to test ride the first generation of Indians. I rode out to Dayton, Ohio to test Victories.
That's a predecessor of the Indian motorcycle.
Correct.
Yes.
So it was just a wide and varied experience that I got to do a lot of stuff back then that if I was doing it today at younger, where you guys are, hell, I could have gone national maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I was watching some of your YouTube videos, and they're professional. I mean, they're really good, actually, for the time that you was doing them. And you had a lot of guests. You would go to the expos and you would just interview people. It's freaking cool, actually.
Yeah, I need to watch some. I haven't seen them yet.
I'll give you
Sure.
the link, and I'll put the link in
Yes.
the comments also.
Yeah, send the link.
I mean, Custom Chrome Productions is still up and running as a website. If you click videos, you can get a lot of them. Also, if you dig back, you can find some of the videos that we shot for Two Wheel Thunder and Road Wheeler. We had success in that. And again, like I said, there were a lot of things that I tried to do. Like I said, I had 2 young ladies that worked with me at one time. They with varying degrees of success. I have a picture of my wife Lisa and Stephanie with Arlen Ness back in the day. But with varying success because I couldn't get them to do the research that I would do. I love motorcycles. I love learning about them. I love reading about them. I love watching the videos now. I just couldn't get enough about the cruiser chopper lifestyle. Okay, I subscribed to magazines back in the day. Now the print is dead. Easy Rider, Hot Bike, Cruiser magazine, Hot Bike Baggers, all those things. And during the course of my travels, I got to meet some of my heroes that wrote for these magazines. People like Jordan Massacini. He just put out a video he did with Thrashing. Andrew Cherney, Rogue, who used to write for Easy Rider and a couple other places. Mark Zimmerman, excellent tech guy. Evan Brasfield, J. Joshua LaPlaca, and Jeff G. Holt, who's out doing the hot bike tours now. So just the opportunity to meet these people never would have presented itself if I had never gotten involved. And they were all very encouraging about developing the talent and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
So like I would tell you guys are on the ground floor. Keep on going, keep on, and you're going to make contacts eventually. You know, when you get to that 500,000 mile mark, then you can do all that stuff like,
We're trying to get to the 50 mark.
you know, because like I said, Traveling Tall, Adam Sandoval, you rode with him.
Yep.
Her Two Wheels, they get test bikes.
Yeah.
I would have loved to got my hand on test bikes
yeah.
back in the day.
That's what we talk about all the time.
And they get them like Traveling Tall. He got an Indian 8 months ago, and he's still sitting in his garage. He's mainly a Harley guy, but he's got an Indian. So, and he did some Indian content. So, more power to it.
Yeah, Harley's got a little bit more money. I
They
think.
got a lot more money.
It was like, here, Travel Tall, keep that Indian in that garage.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, that's the way life is, though. I mean, you got 2 competitors right now, Indian and Harley Davidson, in the cruising market. And you've been riding Indian since the beginning, right?
Well, I test drove one, but I got mine in 2019.
2019. So
So let's talk. What are some of the bikes that you've owned over the years? Just list off a few of your favorites.
I was mainly a metric guy,
Okay.
and I don't want
Metric, you hear that?
I don't want to offend all my Harley brothers out there, but I just never had an interest in owning a Harley Davidson and owning a Harley. I just didn't.
So what was your favorite metric manufacturer?
I would have to say between the Suzukis and the Kawasaki's.
Okay, all right.
Because my last 2 bikes were before the Indian was a Kawasaki 1500, and then
Okay.
I got a Kawasaki 1600, which I had for 12 years.
Wow.
And that thing,
They run forever, though.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Spectral oil, which is a great oil that I would put up against any other oil in existence. They were one of our sponsors and one of our supporters back in the early days, and they kept me supplied in oil. And I changed the oil religiously, and that thing ran like a top from day one to the day I sold it.
Man, did you regret selling it?
Yeah, I did.
See, most people do. That's what we've talked about that before.
Yeah,
too.
well, I sold it to a guy that didn't really take care of it.
Oh, and then that hurt your soul, doesn't it?
And I keep going,
Yeah.
it's not mine anymore.
Yeah.
Shut up. It's not yours anymore.
But your soul still pains that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel it.
So in 2019, my wife Lisa and I had gone around and around about Indian. Victory wasn't so much in the cards anymore,
yeah, they've slid out.
and I had done going not to digress, but I'd done an interview with Steve Minetto, who was head of both lines at Polaris at the time, who told me quote unquote, Victory is for the performance guy. Indian is for the touring laid back guy.
And
He's no longer with the company, and it turns out that Indian's right here with the performance because little known fact that your Pursuit was supposed to be a Victory.
Oh yeah.
And it just turned into an Indian when it's a big seller for Indian.
Oh, yeah.
A huge seller for Indian.
Yep. It's a beautiful bike.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
They are.
They got a bunch of beautiful
Like
bikes
right here in the front, right in
Yes,
front of
they
us.
do.
We'll take a couple screenshots and
Yeah,
some film
absolutely.
after we're done here, and we'll add that into the podcast. But yeah.
So 2019, Lisa and I had gone back and forth about Indians. The Pursuit and the Challenger wasn't even a thought yet. So Brett, who was the general manager here at the time, came out and said, yeah, we're getting in a 2019 Roadmaster Elite. In fact, we got it in the back. We're uncrating it now. So I called Lisa up. I said, they're uncrating a 2019 Roadmaster Elite. You want to come down and look at it? Yeah, I'll come down and look at it. She comes down in the car. They uncrate this thing for us. It's not even put together yet. It's still in the crate. She goes, I really like that. I go, yeah, it's really neat. Look at that.
Yeah, it's
got
a
this
beautiful
thing
bike.
back.
Here it is. Yeah.
And she goes, no, you don't understand. I really like it.
Uh-oh.
Next thing I know, I'm in the office signing my life away.
Once she commits to it, you're done.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the bike I ride today. Now, granted, that bike was a 111 stock. I never rode it stock. I put the 116 kit in it right
away.
off the bat. And I've never been disappointed in it.
And so you've had that for about 5 years now then?
Yes. I put every mile on it.
It's a beautiful bike.
And like I said, there was a lot of aftermarket stuff that I put on it. I used RC components that I had a contact with. They sent me slip-ons. Mike told me about a cat delete that they had here at the shop, and I put that on.
Okay, sweet.
The black horn stents were powder coated. And instead of going all chrome, I went with a chrome and black motif, which if you go back and watch the video of the end product, which is on the Custom Cycle Production website, Brett said at that time it was the best production custom they had done at this shop to date.
Wow.
Now, granted, they have done some really outstanding things to a lot of bikes since then.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm happy with my bike. I'm happy with the way it turned out.
So how many times a week do you wash that bad boy?
At least once.
Once a week.
Okay.
You cover it during the winter, I imagine?
Garage kept.
Well, garage, but cover it up too?
No, I don't cover it up.
Oh, you don't cover it up?
I just go down and wipe it off.
Okay. So you still clean it during the wintertime then?
Oh, yeah, I go down and talk to it. Lisa calls it the mistress for good reason. Bella's her name, by the way.
Yeah, it's got a name. There you go.
Yeah. It's a beautiful bike. Like I said, here's another shot of it so everybody can see. And then, I mean, at the beginning, when I first saw that bike, when I first came in the showroom, and I looked at it and I said, man, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But ever since I've been hanging out with him and hanging out with
it's growing on you more and more.
the Indian motorcycle group that we ride with all the time, almost every single one has one. They're all different styles. I mean, collar wise and stuff like that. But it is growing on me big time.
Well, and here's the thing too that I get arguments from Challenger Pursuit riders. It's liquid cooled, and it's higher revving engine, more horsepower versus a push rod engine. Nothing sounds like a push rod engine.
No,
You can put whatever exhaust you want to on it. Nothing's going to take that. Nothing's going to make that sound on your bike.
Absolutely.
Having come from liquid cooled engines to this, I just like the feel. It is a solid American bike, and I wanted an Indian that looked like an Indian. I'm not going to mention any names, but one of the people in our group had a 2017, I think he said, Roadmaster that he liked, but then he got the new style with the new fairing and everything else. He absolutely hated it because the wind gusts coming up underneath. The wind management wasn't the same.
Yeah.
He rode that bike for a year and traded it back in for a 2019 old style Roadmaster because the Roadmaster and the Springfield are the only two bikes that have the valance fenders anymore. Indians gotten completely away from it. And there was a lot of hate coming out about the valance fenders. But me, I love them. Yeah, they're hella clean, but I love them.
And then you got a nice blue and white one right over there.
I see it. Yeah, I've been looking
Tracy,
at it.
right there is your next bike.
I don't know about that, man. I like my Harley, man. I like it.
Oh yeah. So now, what's your plans on the future?
Well, as I said, when we got away from Road Wheeler, had a parting of the ways, and Wes Holt and I decided that we wanted to keep going with the videos, so we did Custom Cycle Production. We still had our press credentials, and we kept filming. Wes bought his own equipment, which was a shoulder-mounted camera.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day, no GoPros. It was a shoulder-mounted studio camera, and he did all his mixing on his computer like you did. And like I said, we still kept the quality up, but what did us in is that they moved all the shows.
Yeah.
I went to the Easy Rider shows in Columbus and Louisville. I went to the shows in Indianapolis, and then we had the V-Twin here. They stopped having the V-Twin here, I think in 2012, 13, something like that. They quit having it here. So we went to the Easy Rider tour shows in Columbus and Louisville, Lexington to get content. And then we went to the dealer show in Indianapolis, which was huge. But eventually, they moved everything out west. They moved the AIM Expo out to Las Vegas. It's been out there for about 5 to 7 years. I can't go to Vegas every year.
Yeah.
So that kind of did us in. But you know what? Content is content. And if you enjoy the old style content, where you're seeing people like Arlen Ness when he was still alive, Michael Lichter when he was shooting for Easy Rider, Dave Nichols, who was and still is the editor of Easy Rider since they revamped it to an online format. Those are the kind of people that I interviewed back in the day. Dave Perowitz and his daughter Jody. Donnie Smith, who just had his Donnie Smith show up north. Those are the master bike builders that I interviewed back in the day, and they're still out there to be seen.
Yeah. Maybe one of these days we'll take a trip to Las Vegas. I've never been there, Max.
You've never been to Las Vegas?
No, we're gonna have to go to a show.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I've been to Las Vegas. It's great. And like I said, knowledge is power. I keep up on things by YouTube like everybody else. Like I said, on the HD side, I watch Thrash and Supply, Cycle Fanatics, VP Custom, Marvel Kid 87, Professional Monkey. And then, like I said, for people who have content on both, I've got Traveling Tall, Adam Sandoval, the King of the Baggers on Moto America, and Her Two Wheels. And then for the Indian side, there's Riding Fish and Finesse the Challenger and a bunch of other people. Like I said, back in the days when Wes and I was doing this, or me and Ron were doing this, that what you guys do today, we couldn't even fathom of doing this kind of stuff.
Like
one last thing before I go. Let me shout out to all the people that have supported the channel and the magazine over the years, and a big shout out to all my camera and sound guys over the years. Like I said, Ron Salee, he started out with me. Wes used to take still photos and moved up to the camera guy where he owned the camera and everything else. The Fine Hour brothers, Clint and Brian, they shot film for me at one time. So there were a lot of people that I couldn't have done everything that I've done by myself. So it always helps to have a good crew. In fact, I might send Wes your way and let him work camera for you guys.
Yeah, we need help.
We need somebody. It took us about almost an hour and a half to set up. We've never been in an outside location like this before, so we didn't know exactly what was going to happen or how it was going to be set up. I think we did okay. I mean, for our first one, this is our very first one. Hopefully, the TV back here, you guys can see that. We'll see when when we actually look at
And
it.
we'll film some bikes after we're done.
Yeah,
too,
we'll film
get
some
that in.
bikes and
Got to shoot that B-roll.
and Max, I appreciate you being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I got to tell the story, and like I said, the stuff's still out there.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested in the old style.
Yep. And I think he will be back. I think he'll be back because I think he's got like probably about another 6 hours of content.
Probably more than that.
Well, let's see the ratings on this one. Okay, I think that's going to depend on whether I get invited back or not.
And we're going to need your help. You know, we need you to share, like, and hit that bell.
Right.
And subscribe. Yeah. Also, and the biggest thing is share, and another thing is also liking it, but comment. You know, engage in these videos a little bit.
Yeah, comment on our guest today. Let him know that he's here. Yeah, talk about it.
Exactly. And I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Once again, like, share, ring that bell icon, comment.
Thanks for joining in.
Thanks for joining in. We'll see you guys next week. This will probably be on Saturday, I think, hopefully. Right. So, all right, everybody, goodbye.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. All right, this is Chris from IronPonyLife, and this is
Tracy.
And this is
Mike.
Mike. All right, so this is NKY, Northern Kentucky Indian, right?
Ride Northern Kentucky. Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the dealership here. I mean, I really, one thing is I really appreciate you letting us do the podcast here. Hopefully we'll do more.
Great opportunity for us. We appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys coming out.
Yeah. All right, so tell us a little bit about the dealership.
So we opened in August of 2015 as a Indian Victory slingshot dealership. Been here, so what is it, 2020? About going on 9 years,
Almost
right
10
at 9
years,
years.
yeah. Oh, wow.
Done a lot of expansions. We added Royal Enfield, KTM, Gas, Husqvarna, and Sherco. So we got a good variety of a little bit of everything, from $2,000 dirt bikes to $40,000 Roadmasters.
Right. Now, I hear there's another expansion coming. Is that right?
We got big plans of adding some storage space with increased models and brands. We
Need to learn.
definitely need some storage space.
How many of the new Scouts you got here?
We just got 6 off the truck last night.
Wow.
One of them's pre-sold.
Right.
Guy gave us deposit already, but just rolled in. I think the service department just prepped them.
That's got to be exciting for you guys, right? Because those
Yeah,
things are
yeah.
selling like crazy, right?
Yeah, we were almost completely out of the 24 Scouts, so having a couple more of that the Scout. We sell a lot of Scouts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So have you seen a pickup demand? I mean, like how fast you think them bikes are going to sell?
We've already sold 7 2025s. They were all pre-sold. The Indian did a really good job on this model launch of, hey, get your pre-solds in, and they fulfilled all those before they started shipping stocking inventory.
Right.
So they filled them quick, whether that's the 7 people who wanted them already got them, and these are going to sit here forever. I highly doubt that.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
think they're gonna sell
the new
well.
models sharp.
Yeah.
So this is June 28th, and they have 5 not accounted for right now for any buyer. So if you want one, come and get this. This is probably going to be out on Saturday on the 29th. So you got a few days because these things are going to fly out of this showroom.
Yeah.
They're really nice looking models.
Yeah,
too.
and the models we got to start off were good ones. I mean, the flat black, sport, the bobber, with tech. They're good models. They didn't send us the
cheap,
the
starting
less
brand.
desired ones. So we got some good ones.
Now, are you looking forward to getting the 101?
Yeah, we've done 3 of those.
Yeah.
And man, that thing's hot.
It's sweet.
Yeah,
They're sweet.
Yeah, I think that's what my wife wants is the 101, or she's going to go with the Chief.
Well, you got to buy it for Mike.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I bought my
guarantee
Challenger. This is the only place I shop.
All right.
So this is the only place I want to get my bike. So, what about you? You haven't got?
I bought a Royal
I know
Enfield.
you're a big fan of that brand.
I love Royal Enfield.
They are
yeah.
actually pretty nice bikes.
Yeah.
So you do have a shotgun 650 here, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
We got a shotgun and a super meteor.
That's
Now, are
the
you
newest
having a
one.
hard time getting inventory from them at the moment, or is it just
No,
kind of a,
they're going. I got to place an order.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
that we sold through a bunch of them this
Right,
month.
right, you
and just haven't placed a refill order yet.
okay.
Well, once again, Mike, I appreciate you letting us do this.
Yep.
Can we do it
I
again? I
appreciate
won't
you
put on
guys and
record.
getting the word out there
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
sending all your friends and family and
definitely
listeners to us.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
Yep. Right. Record and record. All right. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
All right. So you just want to go by Max? Max?
Yeah, that's
okay.
fine.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's do this one more time. We'll go live this time. Hi, everyone. This is Chris from IronPonyLife, and this is Tracy.
Tracy. Got it.
You got it? Oh, we're going to do it one more time.
All right.
I won't say it this time.
I got you.
Hi, everyone. This is Chris from IronPonyLife,
This is Tracy.
and this is
Max.
Max.
Welcome, Max.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks guys for having me.
Yeah, this is our guest for the week. He's got a lot of motorcycle knowledge, and we are at the Northern Kentucky Indian, right?
Ride
Motorcycle.
Northern Kentucky. Yeah,
Ride.
here in Walton, Kentucky.
Exactly right. All right, so we'll get better at that. We'll do it one more time. All right.
All right. I hope I didn't bore you guys too much.
Oh, no.
No. This is what I like to do. I like to do interviews. I kind of stumbled there for a second, but I was kind of nervous. But yeah, this is the first time we've done this. But you did good. You did better than you normally did. I'm impressed this time.
Come on now.
You did. I got this on recording still.
I know.
Well, and like I said, thank you for the questions because
Oh,
that
yeah.
always helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, me sitting here rambling, I'm always going to forget something.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think we got the major points covered,
Yeah.
at least in what we talked about the other
Yep.
day.
We'll look at it here real quick. Let me hit stop here.